पर्दे हो कादे जुल्करनैन सुलेमान जे खिदमतगार कहाँ थे. This is just his outer beauty. His inner beauty perhaps far more amazing even than this. To the extent that Sayyidina Imam Yusuf bin Ismail al-Nabhani rahimahullah ta'ala, he dedicates an entire section of his book on the miracles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the miracle that is the khuluq, the character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there's so many examples that can be reiterated here. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the young girls of Medina Munawwara are coming early morning to the masjid and bringing their pails of water and asking the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on those cold winter mornings of Madinatul Munawwara to dip his hand into their water so that it would become blessed for us. Who would do this? Who besides Rasulullah? When he shook hands with somebody, he was not ever the first one to release his hand. Again, who would do this but Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? When somebody who's not even of completely sane mind, they come and they take the hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He goes and he sits in the road until they are finished telling and saying whatever they want to say. Who would do this but Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So many examples to give. But this is his inner beauty. Teach your children the beauty of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The answer, the question was how to connect them. We are naturally drawn to things that are beautiful. There is no one and there is nothing more beautiful than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I tell you, Sahabi, Shama'il of Imam al-Tirmidhi. The hadith is in Shama'il of Imam al-Tirmidhi. ما رأيت شيئا أحسن من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Sahabi says, I never saw anything as beautiful as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. मैंने रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम से ज्यादा खूबसूरत कोई शय नहीं देखी. ये नहीं कहा कोई मर्द नहीं देखा, कोई इंसान नहीं देखा. He didn't say ما رأيت رجلا شبه من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. He says, I never saw anything as beautiful as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Connect your children by sitting with them. Talk to them. Tell them who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. You introduce the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's beauty to them, and I guarantee you they will fall in love with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a foregone conclusion. The last thing I want to just mention in just a couple of minutes is this huge favor. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specify the believers for this? Whereas in the Quran himself he says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We did not send you but as a mercy for all the creation. If he is a mercy for the entire creation, why the favor only upon the believers? لَقَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. There will come a day. In the words of the Quran, there will come a day. And from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the sun will be so close to people above their heads that they will be sweating and perspiring, and their sweat will be being absorbed 70 feet into the ground. And then it will begin to rise based on their feet, up to the ankles, up to the knees, the waist. Some people will literally be drowning in their own perspiration. The jalal of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his anger on that day will be like never ever seen before. That very famous hadith about people going to all the different prophets. And one thing is even Adam al-Islam, the first thing that he will say to them is, the jalal, the anger that I am seeing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala today, I have never ever seen it. This is not for me, go to somebody else. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ. Think about that day for one moment. Brothers running from each other. Spouses running from each other. Parents abandoning their children, refusing to recognize them. The hardship of that day. The first Your tongues or people's tongues will be hanging out of their mouths. Ya ilahi, jab zubane pehnaye pyas se. Sahib Kausar Shahe Judo Ata Prasad. That day where your deeds will be accounted for on a scale, traditional balance scale. Think of a traditional balance scale with two platforms. In Akhirah, that scale is platforms are so huge that the entire world could fit into it. And when my bad deeds are put into the left hand side, what's going to happen? It's the opposite of this world. The heavier side will go. The Sirat, the bridge on the hellfire, sharper than a blade, thinner than a hair. That is the one and only route into Jannah. Every single one of us, if we're going to Jannah, got to get it on. No other route. How are you going to do on that? With your support. Only one. And Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu he said, Sayyidina Anas radiallahu ta'ala said to me, Ya Rasulullah, will you intercede for me? Will you do my shafa'ah on the day of judgment? And he said, yes, of course I will. He said, Ya Rasulullah, where can I find you on the day of judgment? He said, come to the Mizan. If I'm not at the Mizan, then come to my house. My water of my house of Al Kawthar. If you don't see me, then come to the Sirat, come to the bridge on the hell. These three locations identified by the Prophet of Allah. Right. Who is going to help us there? There is only one. And will anyone besides the believers and besides his true followers benefit from this? Anyone? No. This is why Allah says, because yes, in this world everybody benefits from His rahmah and His mercy. But surely there will come one day when there will be only believers and only His sincere servants who will benefit from His rahmah. After His shafa al-kubra, nobody else apart from His believers. And that's why I finish with a few verses from our great Imam. He reminds us of this, and also a message here that it's not a free ticket to Jannah. Yes, He will be there. Yes, He will provide that support. But know this, there will also be those whom He will turn His face away from. How do we ensure that we're not one of them? Follow His teachings and His sunnah today. And tomorrow He will be there for you. So He tells us, He says, Sachi baat sikhate, ye, seedhi raah jalate, ye. And then He talks about all of these places. And He says, starting from the grave, में बंदों को थपक कर मीठी नींद सुलाते ये है when your parents have disowned you माँ जब इकलौते को छोड़े आ कहकर बुलाते ये है when our tongues are hanging out with thirst He is the one ठंडा ठंडा मीठा मीठा पीते हम हैं पिलाते ये है when we're at the mizan then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam अपने भरम से हम हल्कों का पल्ला भारी बनाते ये है and then at the sirat that great सल्लिम सल्लिम की धारस से उनसे पार लगाते ये है that's why he finishes with कह दो रजा से खुश हो खुश रह मुजदा रजा का सुनाते ये I only said I was going to finish. That was what the last thing. That's a 2-minute belief. Just something's come to mind, and I don't want to leave you with that. One hadith, short hadith, I'm going to summarize, and this is, I'm finishing, I'm concluding with this. Just to present this point to you. The Prophet ﷺ talks about a person who will be standing at the mizan and the scales. On the left-hand side, there will the angel will start piling up registers of bad deeds. And there will be a mountain of bad deeds on the left-hand side. A mountain, and not one single good deed on the right-hand side. And he's very worried about it. He's being told, don't worry. And thinking to himself, how can I not worry? And then eventually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands and the angels bring out a small piece of paper. This hadith is in Mishkatul Masahih. Brings out a small piece of paper. Here you have a mountain of bad deeds. One tiny piece of paper is placed on the right hand side and it rises above all of his bad deeds. Very surprised, oh Allah, what is this? And with the command of Allah, the angels show him this piece of paper. And what does it say on it? أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. This is the value and the worth of your Iman. وآخر دعوانا.